a worn-out town, paint peeling off them old brick signs. Folks work hard, keep their heads down, trying to hold on to better times. Used to leave your door unlocked at night. Now everybody's got a camera on. Still got faith if we get it right, we can fix what's gone wrong. Ain't about talk, ain't about show. It's about the way we live, the way we know. Let's get back to dirt roads, back to porch lights, neighbors standing up when it ain't polite. Cold beer, hard true stars up above, a little less noise and a whole lot of love. Red, white, blue ain't a trend we chase. It's sweat on your shirt and calloused hands grace. If we're gonna stand, we don't stand apart. We gotta get back to heart. The water line, kids still laughing like nothing's changed. But there's a whole lot of talk on the screen these days, and not enough folks saying it face to face. We ain't perfect, never claimed to be, but we know what matters when the dust all clears. It's family, friends, and a little dignity, and standing strong through the years. Ain't about left, ain't about right. It's about showing up when it's time to fight. Let's get back to dirt roads, back to porch lights, neighbors standing up when it ain't polite. Cold beer, hard true stars up above, a little less noise and a whole lot of love. Red, white, blue ain't a trend we chase. Sweat on your shirt and calloused hands grace. If we're gonna stand, we don't stand apart. We gotta get back to heart. Ain't no filter, ain't no spin, just who we are and where we've been. If you fall down, we pull you up. That's the kind of country built on us. Let's get back to dirt roads, back porch lights, neighbors standing up, yeah, ready to fight. Cold beer, hard true stars up above, a little less talk and a whole lot of love. Red, white, blue ain't a flag you fold. It's a way of life and a code we hold. If we're gonna stand, we don't stand apart. We gotta get back, yeah, back to heart. Yeah, back to us. Woo. Back to us. Back to heart.
Good evening and welcome to Apex News Above the Noise podcast. I am Kyle Thompson.
And I'm Craig Blanton.
Hey, thanks for joining us tonight. We really appreciate it. Craig, it is great to be back in the bluegrass. I hope you were able to keep things held down while I was down in the beautiful state of Florida.
Yeah, we were just talking and dreaming, saying, well, wish we was in Florida the same week.
Yeah, well,
up here.
It was nice. We got a whole slew of stories. Seems like every time we open up our phone, we have another story that's coming across. So let's just get right into it. Tonight, a major shakeup in one of the most closely watched governor's races in the country, as Eric Swalwell, the leading Democrat frontrunner, has suspended his campaign for governor following a wave of serious allegations that surfaced late last week. According to multiple reports, Swalwell's decision comes after several women accused him of sexual misconduct, including one former staffer who alleges sexual assault while she was intoxicated. Additional allegations from other women include claims of unsolicited explicit photos and inappropriate behavior, as first reported by outlets including CNN and the San Francisco Chronicle. Swalwell, for his own part, has denied all the allegations, calling them false and politically motivated, but acknowledged what he described as, quote, mistakes in judgment. In a statement announcing his decision, Swalwell said, and this is a key line, "I am suspending my campaign for governor." The fallout obviously was immediate, Craig. Within 24 hours, major political allies withdrew support. I think 26 major withdrawals of support, including high-profile Democrats and key labor unions, while campaign staff reportedly resigned. overnight as well. There are also multiple investigations now underway, and we'll talk about those in a second. But why this matters, this isn't just one candidate, completely reshapes the race in California. Swalwell has been considered a top Democrat contender in a crowded field vying to replace Governor Gavin Newsom. And this opens the field wide open now, and it raises concerns about Democrats potentially splitting the vote and increases the possibility that two Republicans could advance under California's top two primary system. Early indications show a shift with other candidates gaining momentum in what is now a far more unpredictable race. But before we get to that, and perhaps more importantly for uh, Representative Swalwell, is that the House Ethics Committee probe has been begun, in a reported criminal investigation tied to some of the allegations are being reviewed right now by the Manhattan DA's office. And because allegedly that's where one of the alleged instances occurred, was in New York while he was there. Despite stepping out of the governor's race, Swalwell has not resigned from Congress, even as calls grow from both parties, including leadership, including one of his own fellow Congressman Ro Khanna, who has really stepped up in the last few hours, expressing his interest. And this goes further than just Representative Swalwell. This is going to affect a number of members in Congress. Essentially, this might be the tipping point for that ethics committee, Craig. And this is not going to be the only individual that faces
Yeah,
some potential ethics probe.
yeah, like you said at the beginning, things are changing by the minute. It just came out that the House Ethics Committee is going to hold a hearing. You got the one up in New York. Him dropping out in California opens the race wide open, and many are speculating that he was thrown under the bus by the California Democrat Party because of these allegations. And remember, start off, you're not guilty from any accusations. Nothing's proven. Right, so far. So it's just
True.
allegations.
Yeah, it's true allegations, but in the court of public opinion, sometimes all it
Public
takes is
opinion.
allegations.
Yeah, that's correct. But in real life court of law, he's not been convicted of anything. But
That's correct. It's interesting though that so many folks have. I shouldn't say so many folks. At least two, maybe more now, individuals have come forward saying that these things happened, and I think
right,
that's one of those things. And interestingly enough, it was Representative Swalwell during the Kavanaugh hearings
right.
8 years ago
Kevin,
when he specifically was on the Sunday morning news shows talking about Justice Kavanaugh. He said, "Look, if you have multiple women coming forward saying these things, then there must be some truth behind it. If you
except
use
for-
that, if you
yeah,
use that,
remember back then though, that girl that said it, even her best friend would not corroborate what she said.
correct, and obviously it had happened, 30 years prior. But
Right.
I think this obviously didn't happen 30 years ago, and I think if you use that same standard, which I'm sure he doesn't want us to use right now, then Representative Swalwell will have some issues immediately. My thoughts initially are, I think that Representative Swalwell had a number of issues, including his past congressional record and his past record, whether you want to admit that this plays into it, his issues with a former Chinese spy.
Bang, bang.
Yeah, that he had allegedly had a relationship with. Well, he's admitted that he did, and I think that this was one means, as you said, that the Democrat Party of California probably felt like if we can coalesce behind an individual, then now's the time to do it, and let's get rid of the one guy who has.
But who can they coalesce behind?
Well,
The
they're
leader, the billionaire Tom Steyer.
yeah.
You don't want. They bash billionaires all the time, and he's leading as a Democrat Party. And then Katie Porter has had her blow-ups on CBS News and other podcasts and news interviews, dropping F-bombs and everything, blowing up at her staff, and some of them quit right after that. And so they really don't have a good candidate. I saw some of them mention Mayor Villaraigosa, from the LA mayor, who's standing at about 3%, I believe.
Right.
The party might get behind him because of Steyer being a billionaire and Katie Porter's demeanor.
Well, and the latest polling that came out just 5 hours ago, specifically that there on the screen, had Swalwell 13.8% behind
Right.
Steve Hilton. It's important to understand that Hilton is a Republican, Swalwell was a Democrat. Chad Bianco, who is a very popular
Sheriff.
sheriff in California, is also right up there as well with about 13.6%. And then you have Tom Steyer and you have Katie Porter. Swalwell exits the primary, and all of a sudden his entire support, even if it's split among Steyer and Porter, puts them very close to second, if not second and third place. Now, why this matters is
Right.
because
Which is what they want.
right.
Yeah.
Why this matters is in California they have a top two tier running primary. So essentially, you could have a Republican and a Republican, and right now with Swalwell out, the top two candidates right now are Steve Hilton and Chad Bianco, who are both Republicans. Because there are so many Democrats running right now, if you split that ticket and those two end up as the top two vote getters, well, then all of a sudden you're going to have to choose a Republican as your
Right.
governor for California. Now that would be so astronomically different as a change. And for those who don't know, Steve Hilton is a political commentator that very, very popular. But there's been popular Republicans run before in California, and they cannot win because of the pure demographics of the state. I believe this will inherently benefit Tom Steyer, and I think at this point it's a situation where Tom Steyer has to be the one that steps up for the Democrat Party.
Yeah, he's spent, I think, close to $300 million over the years with various Democrat elections and causes. He would fit right in for what California had wanted because he's an environmentalist. He's a very progressive, and he's loaded to the bank. But it goes back to the thing: billionaires are bashed from
right.
everybody in the Democrat Party, from Pelosi on down to your first year congressional members. They're just hammered. So I don't know how they could get behind Steyer and then Katie Porter with her issues. That's why, I saw that thing that said Villa-Garoso. That'd be a huge match. But if it goes down to the two Republicans, I read something that it might help the House, the California House, and maybe it would flip Republican, not the U.S. House, the state House, that it might flip Republican too.
Well, and California is set after the 2030 census, if everything stays the same, that in 2032 they're set to lose up to 5 House seats at that point because of the census, and that's only growing.
That's as of today. That's as of today, and it could get much worse for them. So this could be big. I also think it's very interesting that it comes out now, especially with there are a number of congressional members, 4 that I saw last night, who will be discussed by this ethics committee to determine if there should be other expulsions that come. And honestly, it has happened so rarely in Congress that someone has been expelled. I'm thinking about George Santos is the last one that I can think of, but a long time before him.
Yeah, and it was a long, long time before him. But his was financial. These all seem to be issues against women in particular. You also had the Florida Democrat that essentially I believe they said that she had misappropriated federal funds when it came to
that's just in the last 2 weeks also.
Yeah. So, I mean, there's a number of people that's going to happen. You did mention Katie Porter, and while I'm thinking about it, I've got this here. I thought it reminded me when we were talking that Katie Porter, for those who don't know who Katie Porter is, she's a former House member and actually she's a current House member, but she has a very standoffish relationship with the news and journalism. So this is a great interview that she had right here.
We've also asked the other candidates, do you think you need any of those 40% of California voters to win? And you're saying, no, you don't.
No, I'm saying I'm going to try to win every vote I can. And what I'm saying to you is that...
Well, to those voters. Okay, so you...
I don't want to keep doing this. I'm going to call it. Okay. Thank you.
You're not going to do the interview with us?
Nope, not like this. I'm not. Not with 7 follow-ups to every single question you ask.
Every other candidate has answered our follow-ups.
I don't care. I want to have a pleasant, positive conversation in which you ask me about every issue on this list.
Yes,
and if every question you're going to make up a follow-up question, then we're never going to get there.
Ms.
And
Porter,
we're just going to circle around.
I am an investigative
I have never
reporter.
had to do this before, ever.
You've never had to have a conversation with
to end
a
an
reporter?
interview.
Okay, but every other candidate has done this.
What part of I'm me? I'm running for governor because I'm a leader. So I am going to.
She's a leader,
So you're
Craig.
not going to answer questions from
say it.
reporters?
It's like LeBron
Okay, why
said,
don't we
he
go
continued.
through? I will
You
continue
gotta
to ask
push
follow-up
yourself,
questions because
not
that's my
working.
job as a journalist, but I will go through and ask these, and if you don't want to answer, you don't want to answer. So nearly every legislative...
I don't want to have an unhappy experience with you, and I don't want this all on camera.
I mean, I don't. That's your future. That's potentially your future governor of
Right, yeah.
California, and that is not a Fox News, gotcha kind of interview. That is the local Los Angeles, very left-leaning KTLA that's doing that news story, and that's the reaction that you're getting from Katie Porter. I can't imagine. She's obviously known for aggressive oversight and strong grassroots backing.
Oh yeah.
But both Steyer and Porter are going to take some of those folks. If I thought Katie Porter's campaign was over 6 months ago when these started coming out in the fall. I thought that was. I mean,
Do you have the other one where she yelled at her staffer?
I don't have that one loaded, but that was another good one. And for those of you who don't have that one, Katie Porter was in an interview and her staffer happened to walk through the back. She was at her home. She was doing an interview at her home, and a staffer walked behind her. And then when she walked behind her, she just laid into her, something that would get most people fired in corporate America,
Right.
talking to someone like that. I thought I thought not only her run for governor was over, but I thought her political career was over. I thought with just these coming out, this just proves if something happens early on, people simply have the memories of gnats, I guess, because
Right.
that she's going to be your front runner. I really believe that. I believe a majority of the Swalwell people, whoever would support Eric Swalwell, but then
We'll
those
go to
people
her.
are going to turn around. They're going to go to her, and she's going to be the person number two. And I think that's not necessarily a good thing for Democrats either. I can't imagine that it would be.
Will national Democrats throw a bunch of money towards her
They'll have to.
if she ends up being number one or number two?
Yeah, I think they'll have to.
If she's number one, if she's number two, she'd probably win, because remember, Los Angeles County is as big as it's bigger than 40 of the 50 states we have in America. It's huge. That alone would carry her, but that's again why I think they're thinking of Villagrosa, thinking just his support in Los Angeles could push him over the top too. Who knows? But it's gonna be fun as hell to watch.
Well, and right now, Steve Hilton is, as you all saw in there, he's leading.
Mhm.
We've seen this before. We've seen when, early on, it looks like from either side, Kamala Harris has a huge lead, Hillary Clinton has a huge lead. Now Steve Hilton has a huge lead in the California race. I don't believe polls. I don't believe any of the polls, because
No.
I don't think what you used to do with polling, and in 30 years ago when I was in statistics class, when you would take the numbers, you'd be able to do actual polling with folks. The problem now is nobody has home lines, and if you do have a cell line and you text me, I'm not responding and I'm not answering the call.
Yeah,
And
you'll
I
get
think
more.
majority,
They'll
I think
sell your
majority,
phone number to somebody else.
right. And at that point, I think the people who are answering are the people who are only strongly in favor of an individual, or they're throwing the numbers off intentionally. I think that happens a lot too. I don't think statisticians and pollsters work anymore. I just don't. I
Well,
think,
do you remember when Rush Limbaugh told all his listeners, the 20 million listeners, that if they get a poll question, to lie?
yeah, answer the wrong way, because it totally messes up. Somebody thinks they're in the lead,
Yeah.
or that they're gaining ground. It totally changes how you focus on an election and an election cycle. So
Right.
I think that just happens more than you think it will. I think the only people who are answering their phones are people who are not working and are usually elderly that are answering their phones during the day. And I think that there is a certain whichever area you're in, if you're in a very red state, that those people tend to be conservative voters, and if you're in a blue state like California, those tend to be individuals who are left leaning. And I think that's just how it's always going to be. But that doesn't mean that you're getting a true version of what is actually happening right here.
Right.
So the other issue with Representative Swalwell that is incredibly interesting as well that we just touched on a little bit. The controversy surrounding Eric Swalwell has now moved squarely into Congress, and the pressure is coming from both sides of the aisle. Multiple members of Congress are calling for formal investigations and possibly disciplinary action following the allegations that forced Swalwell out of the California governor's race. At the center of all of it is the House Ethics Committee, which has opened a preliminary inquiry into the allegations. The committee has the authority to conduct investigations, issue reprimands and censures, and in extreme cases, recommend expulsion from Congress. Now, let's be clear, this guy didn't get expelled when he had a relationship with a Chinese spy. If he gets expelled here, I'd be shocked, and
it'd be amazing.
It'd be totally hypocritical of them, because it didn't matter. His personal life didn't matter back then, but now it matters because he may have been an impediment to them receiving the California governor's office.
And national Democrats too, because this would be used against them on every congressional race.
Oh, 100%. And
across the country.
And to remind everybody, under the the United States House of Representatives rules, it would take 2/3 of the members of the House to expel someone. So it almost never happens. And I strongly believe that House Democrats are in a bad position. If they don't expel him, then it's used against you. If you do expel him, it's used against you.
Yeah, it's used against them because they've been preaching all this stuff since 2016, 2015. And now here's the exact same thing. And if they don't kick him out, it's rocking a hard place time then.
Well, it really, it takes a situation where Eric Swalwell and Adam Schiff, and you can talk about Adam Schiff here in a second, but Eric Swalwell has been one of the biggest critics when it came to when we were discussing Justice Kavanaugh, when we were discussing January 6th, when we're talking about the president and his decisions now. Just about every single one of of the cabinet members, Swalwell, had an argument with him, and he was out front arguing with him. And this is Eric Swalwell is not your representative from Montana that nobody knows. I mean, people know Eric Swalwell. He was the leader in the California governor's race for the Democrats. This hurts. This hurts Democrats nationwide with the Swalwell thing. I think back to Anthony Weiner. I think back to some others. We say it hurts, but will people remember? Like I said, people have short memories, especially when it comes to scandals like this.
Okay. Yeah, and speaking of Adam Schiff, if you're ready to go to that.
Yeah, let's do it.
Little breaking news thing again, 10 minutes before we went live. A whistleblower's come forth saying that Adam Schiff okayed the top secret, I guess meetings on the Russia hoax with Trump, the proven hoax of Trump.
Right.
And they always wondered who was leaking all this stuff out to the press just soon as they would leave the skiff. Well, one of his own people has come forward and sought whistleblower protection to say that Adam Schiff is the one that authorized all that information from those secret meetings to go public. So
well,
that's all I know about that.
We're obviously not surprised.
No,
correct?
No, all along he's kept saying, I've got the evidence for 3 years. And he never produced the evidence. He just kept saying, I've got the evidence.
I assume hoping that nobody would ever force him to provide the evidence.
Well, he was hoping a Democrat would win the presidency and it'd be the end of it.
Right.
And that will be, besides Swalwell, Schiff is from California also.
He's the junior senator of California right now.
Senator. This is not painting a good picture of California politics.
Well, and not only that, I think it is a bad time for Democrats as we are just around the corner from primary season, and I think that's going to be the interesting thing about how this plays out. June 2nd is the California primary, and as you know, we're getting ready to go into primary season here in Kentucky just in 3 weeks. So it's winding down, and things are happening quickly.
And that's what Swalwell was saying, was that this is just electioneering politics coming at the last minute.
But these are his former staffers, and these are I believe these are strongly Democratic individuals who are making these allegations. And obviously, Republicans have made these allegations against Eric Swalwell for years. I mean, they've
Right.
talked about Fang Fang for 10 years
It's
almost.
become a joke.
It has become a joke, and he's been able to withstand that because you can say that's just partisan politics. Now you're getting it from your own folks, and when Ro Khanna represents Silicon Valley, that area,
Right.
and he is a liberal Democrat and he has progressive ideas.
And
But when
Thomas Massey's buddy.
and he's great friends with Thomas Massey, and they travel all over the country. When those two, who were considered, even though he has progressive ideals, he's somewhat center of a lot of the folks in Congress. When they start calling for you to step aside, that's when you know that the folks in the middle are starting to get nervous. Those
Yeah,
people who
right.
may be blue, but they're in a purple, area, things like that. That's things that they really need to take into consideration. And I'm not quite sure that it's not fully coming from the Democrats, and the Republicans are just sitting back,
Hey,
letting things
right.
play out.
Well, and if this turned, started the California House to turn purple, and then the whole state turns purple, then Republicans are going to start focusing more on California.
Well,
Like Democrats are trying to flip Texas.
and if they lose 5 House seats and you have a purple state House of Representatives, it becomes very interesting how you redistrict those areas
Right.
and who you're
Well,
going to save, because you
New
can't get rid
York-
of all the Republicans.
Yeah.
Then.
New York, Illinois, and California are going to lose seats.
Yep.
Texas, Tennessee, Florida, Utah are going to pick up seats.
Yeah,
The last I saw.
and even Wisconsin and Pennsylvania are set to lose seats. And while those were won by President Trump in the last election, those 2 seats will be difficult because I believe that the Wisconsin House is split right down the middle. I
Mhm.
believe it's purple as can be, and same goes for Pennsylvania. In most of these states, like Wisconsin, even in California, a majority of their rural areas are very conservative. There are areas of California that went entirely red and deeper red.
Right, Bakersfield area and things like that. But you look at the county maps, one by, say, for Trump example, he won 2,700 of the 3,300 counties.
Right.
Kamala Harris won about 510, I think, or 520. So it's the populated areas. That's why Los Angeles, Philadelphia, and Pittsburgh, they determine who wins Pennsylvania. That's why everybody focusing on those 2 states those cities during the elections in Chicago and Illinois. So
Yeah.
if they could make headway in California, then it will be a long time before you get a Democrat president again.
I think that the numbers will be interesting, and honestly, I believe 2028 is the best chance for Democrats to win the presidency for a while because of that shift. A lot of people are talking about this 2026 midterm that Democrats will take over the House, and it's entirely possible that they will. I think I looked at Kalshi and Polymarket that
Mhm.
there's a 65% chance that that's going to happen.
Right.
I still think the Republicans keep control of the Senate, so they can
I bet too.
yeah, which means that they'll impeach Trump 17 times. But if
Right.
it's a Republican controlled Senate, he will not be convicted.
Well, you still
But
got to get 2/3 of that too. But
You do.
who's Kalshi got as the number 2 Democrat on the presidential campaign for 2028? Did you see that?
I have not.
AOC,
Well,
Gavin Newsom, and then AOC.
I might have to give to her campaign. That could be fun.
Yeah.
I can only imagine. Moving from while political drama is unfolding here at home, overseas the stakes are even higher. And I think this is kind of interesting, Craig. You and I were talking about this earlier today, and I think this is a major global flashpoint that's heating up again. And this one has the potential to hit every American, but it will also most certainly hit the entire Iranian economy at this point. Tensions are escalating in one of the most critical choke points in the world, the Strait of Hormuz. Roughly 20% of the world's oil supply flows through this narrow passage, making it one of the most important and vulnerable energy corridors on the planet, according to the U.S. Energy Information Administration. Now, new reports indicate that Iran has either threatened or begun limited disruption tactics in the region, raising fears of a broader blockade. So, what did the U.S. do? They actually enforced their own blockade.
Right. On
And
all Iranian ports.
if all Iranian ports, you can't come in or out, and the U.S. is blockading that with our ships currently, essentially, taking all of the spirit out of Iran's attempts to do that. At the same time, diplomatic efforts between the U.S. and Iran appear to be going nowhere fast. We saw that Vice President J.D. Vance had gone over to Pakistan to have those discussions. Talks were aimed at de-escalation and potentially reviving elements of prior nuclear agreements, and those have stalled with little to no meaningful progress, according to reports from Reuters and the Associated Press. The key sticking points include Iran's nuclear program expansion, obviously, sanction relief demands, and ongoing regional military activity. One European diplomat involved in back-channel discussions described the situation bluntly. Quote, both sides are talking, but neither side is moving. That's from a Reuters diplomatic source. And the diplomatic gridlock is now spilling into military and economic tensions. The second part of this story, I think, is kind of interesting. Here's where this hits globally, and it's happened fast. It's happening in the last 24 hours because of the instability in the Strait of Hormuz, or based upon the direct intention of what the United States is doing. International oil tankers are beginning to reroute, with many shipments now heading towards U.S.-controlled or U.S.-secured waters, including the Gulf of America and other Atlantic-facing ports. According to CNBC and Bloomberg, more than 113 tankers and supertankers are headed to the Gulf of America and to the Atlantic ports that we have, and that, they say, will hit Iran in the back pocketbook deeply. You have those numbers you want to share with us, Craig?
Yeah, the super tankers, which there's 68 of it's 121 now. That's, like I said, it's changing so quick. There's a marine ship tracking app that I've got.
Yep.
Got 121 now. 68 of them are super tankers that hold between 3 million, 3.7 million barrels of oil. And then the remaining of the 121 are just regular oil tankers, and they hold over 2 million barrels. So a 3 million barrel super tanker, if they charge what oil market prices that we can see, that's $297 million per ship that will be into the American GDP, which would just be phenomenal.
And what people don't realize is that this makes the United States the premier. There is no second. If there is a second, it's a distant second.
We're the gas tank of the world now.
We really are. And folks say, I traveled this weekend, and honestly, I'll just being completely honest, gas prices weren't great. But I'll tell you, in Florida, Georgia, and Tennessee, gas prices were bearable. They were 360, 359, 360. Kentucky, they're terrible. Coming in at 419 right now, all across central Kentucky, is terrible. It's deplorable. It's frustrating. If our members of the House are watching right now, the State House of Kentucky and the Kentucky State Senate, this is something that should have been fixed, at least temporarily. There are so many taxes on the gas that come through, and if the Attorney General of the state of Kentucky is serious about protecting consumers, he would go after these individual owners that are absolutely gouging individuals across the state right now.
Well, Indiana, I think Governor Mike Braun, he just last week also, I think Thursday maybe, he canceled their state gasoline tax. I don't know what theirs was. I mean, I know what ours is, but I don't know what theirs was. And as just to give some relief to the drivers of Indiana.
Well, and I can tell you, when I was in Tennessee, and it's $3.59 around that. I think I paid $3.58 for regular unleaded, $3.58. It's not great, but to be 60 to 65 to 70 cents more just because I cross a border is insane. That's insane.
Oh, breaking news. Swalwell resigns from the U.S. House after sexual misconduct allegations. So
well, that is That is interesting. And that breaking news right now that is just coming across, Eric Swalwell has just resigned from Congress, citing the accusations against him of sexual misconduct. We will obviously follow that up as things come through here as
That's
well.
that's huge. That's very huge.
Well, I mean, you this is not, again, this is not just an individual from a rural community that nobody knows them. Very few people know, half of the 500 plus individuals in Congress. He he's he's a leading figure.
Right. He's out
On
front on everything that he's out front on everything. There's not a microphone or a camera he don't like.
he's never missed the opportunity to get in front of a camera.
No,
And
not at all.
and unfortunately, this is going to open up a broader discussion from other individuals that this House Ethics Committee probably wants to look into as well. Now, just because he's resigned, he can obviously doesn't. It's not going to mean that they can expel him. He's already gone. He can still be investigated for the crimes or the wrongdoings he did while
They
he was.
usually just drop
They
it.
usually do, but
The House
we'll
usually drops it, which is what will happen here.
remember that House Ethics Committee is made up of equal number 5
5 and
each, I
5.
believe,
Yeah, 5
of
and 5.
Republicans
Correct.
and Democrats.
Yeah.
So
But now this opens up a new thing. I don't know what or where Swalwell's district is in California, but there was speculation that if he resigned before their primary in June, that a Republican might be able to take his seat, adding one to the U.S. House, because they'll have to have an election. They won't be able to appoint somebody, from what I was told or what I read.
yeah, so his district map includes the East Bay area of Northern California, covering communities such as Dublin, Pleasanton, Livermore, Hayward, Union City, and Fremont. And he previously represented the 15th district from 2013 to 2023, and then recently, and when they
Like north of San Francisco and Oakland.
yeah. So yes, that's that same area.
Okay.
So I'm looking at his district map right here. Trying to
That's
see if I can.
amazing news.
Yeah.
I didn't think he'd resign this fast.
I didn't think he would either. I mean, it actually really surprises me. I'm gonna. Do you have who reported that, by the way?
CNBC.
CNBC.
He's just got a little thing that says all it's published at 5:30, and they don't have any text other than he resigned from the House after sexual misconduct allegations. This is breaking news. Please refresh for updates.
Currently, I will tell you that in that district, they're having a primary in that district. There are 6 Democrats and there are 2 Republicans and 1 independent. So take that for what it is worth.
In his district right now.
That are running in his district now. And the primary last time, just to give you an idea of how popular Eric Swalwell was in this area, he had 66% of the vote, and there were 4 people in that primary, and he had 66% of the vote. It wasn't even close. Then when he ran in the general election, he won with 67.8 to 32.2. So
that supports the theory that a Republican could pick this up then if the other candidates were just, has-beens or never wases.
Yep.
And
again, remember, they do the top 2.
Right.
They do the top
jungle
2.
primary. Yeah.
So it really could make a huge difference in their politics. I don't know. I don't know the total shakeup, but it will be interesting. Getting back to our story. Getting back to our story about the tankers. This is from the U.S. Energy News. In a striking display of America's emergence as the world's premier energy supplier, at least 121 empty oil tankers are currently steaming toward U.S. waters, with 68 of them very large crude carriers, each capable of hauling up to 2 million barrels of oil. This surge, captured in real-time marine traffic data and highlighted on Fox News, comes as global buyers scramble for reliable supplies and ongoing disruptions. President Trump has framed it as a validation of U.S. energy dominance, saying, quote, China can send their ships to the U.S. Empty oil-carrying ships from many nations are already headed to the U.S. to load up. The video accompanying the viral X post shows a world map dotted with blue tanker icons converging on the U.S. Gulf Coast. what is interesting about this is it's something that we talked about last week and the week before, in that the aggressions in Iran following the aggressions and removal of Maduro in Venezuela, and the current uprising in Cuba that's happening, this is not just about those each individual areas. It's about those areas as a whole.
Right.
Venezuela has had the largest untapped oil reserves. That means untapped oil reserves. The United States actually has the most oil reserves, but the untapped oil reserves,
Most known reserves, yes.
most
Correct.
known reserves. And so you add that, and then you add Iran with the Strait of Hormuz. We have essentially choked out energy, and you cannot fight wars without oil. You cannot control economies without oil. And the difference between what is happening right now and, say, other times that this has happened, say in the late 70s, Craig, you probably remember the gas rationing in the lines.
Yep.
For people who are complaining right now about gas is high, you're absolutely right. It is high. There's something to complain about. It has been worse. It could be worse. And the difference now is 50 years later, Craig, we are not relying on other countries' oil.
Right.
We are independent.
Yeah, when I got my driver's license, gas went in Frankfurt from like 26 cents a gallon to 75. And I remember adults saying, if it hits $1, we'll quit driving. We'll start riding horses again. Then they said the same thing at $2, $3, $4, $5 when it hit that. But it's a shock to the system, but this will help the American economy. Our oil refineries are operating now, as of this week, at about 97, 98% capacity, where they've been operating down in the 70s just because of the oil. But and then when the one in Brownsville, Texas comes online and it does 300 million or 400 million barrels of light sweet crude, that's the oil that gets turned into gasoline that the U.S. uses. So in 5 years or 10 years, however long it takes to build that thing, we will become even less energy dependent on everybody in the world, because we can start, instead of selling our light sweet crude on the world market, we'll be able to process it in America to sell in America.
I think the interesting thing about this aspect, whether you like this administration and their policies or not, you will see a benefit from this, maybe not this summer, but as we go into the fall and the winter, you're already going to see a difference from an economic standpoint. But I think, and again, we've said this for weeks, this pricing on this on the gas, we don't have any less gas right now. We don't have any less oil. So what's happening at the pump right now, you can be mad at President Trump all you want. You need to be upset with these individual owners and these cartels that work together. And they are gas cartels in every city. And Craig, you know this.
Yes.
Every city. If one person drops it to 389, they are all rushing to get right there. But the time that somebody raises it to 409, they are all racing to get there as fast as they can.
Yeah.
So
if you want to learn about, because my last 9 years in state government, we bought 15 or 20 million gallons of fuel a year. So if you can look up OPIS, Oil Price Information Service. You can learn all about how gasoline is, everything you ever want to know about gasoline, you can learn from there. You can learn, like Kentucky has 7 rack locations. Franklin County is in 2. The west side of Franklin County is in the Louisville rack. The east side of Franklin County is in the Lexington rack. That's why you'll see sometimes such divergent prices on one side of town or the other, because Louisville's got the air quality issues and that reformulated gas, which I'm not sure if his administration has eliminated that yet, but I know they're talking about it. And that adds about 30 cents a gallon to Louisville gas pumps alone. So creating that reformulated gasoline at the Marathon plant in Louisville, like all of our gasoline in Kentucky comes from Marathon. Right. Nobody else. It's controlled out of one place.
And the other interesting thing about that is we have refineries. So why are we? Yeah,
Actually,
why are we getting crushed? You know, the average gasoline prices in Indiana are 3.94, Tennessee are 3.88, and Kentucky is at 3.99. Kentucky doesn't have less gas than Indiana and Tennessee. They don't
right.
have less options for gas. Yet when I go to the gas station when I'm driving, I'm happy to hit the state line. Something is wrong there. And I'll take it one step further. You can say, well, we need those taxes because we need better roads. The roads in Tennessee and the roads in Indiana and the roads in Georgia are way better than the roads in Kentucky right now. So don't give me that garbage that you need higher taxes on my gas because you're going to give me better roads, because you're not. You're absolutely not giving me better roads. And why you're putting that onus on the rest of the people in the state of Kentucky, I have no idea, because that is a farce. That is a lie. It's not because you're giving us better roads. So figure it out. And while we're hurting right now, the legislature should have gotten together and said, we're going to reduce the gas tax, which you said, the gas tax in Kentucky, what that is?
Yeah, it's about 34 cents a gallon right now.
Imagine what a 34-cent reduction.
I'll confirm.
Yeah, 34-cent reduction would do for the citizens of a already impoverished state. You could drop it to $3.50 a gallon, which is, again, not great. That's not where we want to be. But again, take out some of the anger on some of these local pricing cartels and how they work. But you've got to give us some relief on top of that, especially when we know at the end of the day we're not getting a benefit from that. And don't tell me that we are, because I've traveled all over this country in the last year, and just about every state has better roads than the state of Kentucky. And I want to know why that is. And this makes it even more frustrating.
It says it's around 30 cents a gallon. And then
Okay.
federal taxes are standard 18.4, like always.
There you go.
That hadn't been raised in 50 years, probably, or 40
No,
years.
probably not. I will say, as we wrap up on that issue, we will stack these questions and what's happening later tomorrow with more
That's total
updates.
nerd material there.
It is.
This gasoline stuff, but it drives the entire economy.
It absolutely does.
Nothing moves, nothing occurs without driven by a truck with diesel fuel. And then you got to get the cars to get to we have to get the cars to the stores to buy the product.
Right.
And it sets the price on everything.
Well, we will update this as things happen this week. Let's hope that the numbers will actually start coming down. The question that will remain, and we'll have to just kind of see what happens, is, does the situation cool off through diplomacy, or are we headed towards a much bigger global energy crisis? And maybe there is a global energy crisis. But what I don't want to see is, I don't want to see folks. I don't want to see folks in America saying, Chicken Little, the sky is falling, because the sky is not falling in the United States. We control the energy at this point, and right now
the whole planet,
right, and it's for the whole planet. Everybody, China and Russia,
India,
they need India, they need the oil that they're not getting right now. So they are.
And the good thing about it, about blockading off Iran's various ports, whether they're shipping or oil ports, is Russia and China no longer get greatly discounted oil prices because of the various sanctions that we've got on Iran and China. I mean, on China and Russia. Yeah. So now they're having to pay the full boat. Same thing everybody else in the planet is paying. And that's gonna hopefully hurt the Russian war effort against Ukraine. And it's gonna hurt the Chinese economy, where they've been getting a free ride for about 10 or 12 years.
Yeah,
not a free ride, but a greatly reduced ride.
Did you see the news that came out late last night that President Putin said that he would like to be able to negotiate what's happening in Iran and the United States?
Yeah.
Of course, he's starting to get nervous too. For those of you who are very big supporters of Ukraine and the Ukraine-Russian conflict, this is the absolute best thing that could happen to you,
right. Yep.
Because it's going to choke out what Russia has, and I think it's just the only good thing that can come out of this right now.
Yeah, Russia has 300 million people. They got to be able to drive, and if they do that, if they're having to pay full freight, then that's less money they can buy munitions. And right now, the price of crude is 99.08 for WTI, and Brent crude is 98.06.
I mean, the the sweet spot. I mean, we're below $100 a barrel, which is where we were about 4 weeks ago. So,
Right.
you got to ask yourself, why are these prices the way that they are? Because those oil prices right now are only based upon speculation. They are not based upon reality right now. And I think that's the frustrating thing. And perhaps we can dive into that a little bit more tomorrow. I know you have an update, Craig. You just did a recent flyover of Target and BJ's. From what I understand, we are right on time with when that's going to open. I will go ahead and bring that up now.
Yeah, I did this Sunday. I think it was Sunday, Saturday. And I saw the Target logos on there now, so they're coming right along to their July targeted. I said Target is hitting their July.
Target's hitting their target. If they didn't, it would be a bad name.
Words. And then BJ's is just ripping it. I mean, look at this. They've already got.
There was no building there 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, and
there was nothing.
And they are just hustling along quick. So if you drive by there, you see all of the work going on. Plus, if you let it run a little bit further, you're running again.
Oh, you want me to take it to the end there?
No, it's okay. Keep going like this. And to the left of Target, there will be other small stores, that little sort of strip shopping center kind of things.
Sure.
And then across the road, the same thing. There'll be other storefronts there. Then when we get beyond BJ's here, you'll see all that open land. Some of that's for sale, but some of it will be development also. Now, pay attention to this. See that hole in the ground right there? Stop it right there, Kyle. See that hole right there? BJ's offers gasoline pumps. So if they're like Costco,
membership discount, right?
Yeah, if they're at Costco, you got your membership, which the BJ's membership is about a fifth of what Costco's is, about $20 a year maybe. And you get the discounted fuel. That will help keep the price of gasoline down across Franklin County. When you go to that shopping center, you'll be able to get cheaper gas. And, of course, that will help bring more people to the shopping center, so it kind of piles onto itself. If you go there just to get gas, you might run into Target to get something else.
And these are the rest of
that's all development over to Big Eddy Road. I believe that's
the developer of this, Jason Taylor, we have talked about before.
Yeah.
He talked to me end of last week, said that the week after, he's planning on the week after Derby Day to be able to come on the show. He will have a couple of big announcements, he said, of new stores that are coming in there or restaurants.
That's breaking news.
That's breaking news. He will come in May and tell us, and we will have a couple more. There are several on the list. They're just working out the details, and he will announce the ones that he's able to say are officially coming at this point. Some of the other ones,
and he will not give up those names.
He will not give up the names, and I'm good friends with Jason, and he won't give it to me for anything. Yeah. I don't know if that's some type of discussion about me or what, but we'll have to give him a hard time when he's on here about that.
Patrick Tierney.
Oh yeah, tell us about what Patrick Tierney.
That first business went in there. I knew something was coming in February, but they would not tell you who it was, and they kept it a secret for 5 or 6 months. And so, hopefully, if anything comes in the Tierney development over on Duncan Road, we can get Patrick to come on and make the announcement here also.
I believe that in the next few weeks, as some of these developments start to open up and some of these timelines start to open up, we'll start to hear a lot of that. I know that Penny Peevler has said that she'll come on and talk to us as well, and as well as Brad Thomas, who is our economic guru in town, for those of you who don't know Brad. But we have all of those coming up, so make sure you stay tuned. We'll have a lot of that for you guys.
I tell you, what's all these things we're talking about tells you that finally, after 30 years, or 40 years, the Franklin County economy is starting to pick up.
It is, and it's due to the hard work of some individuals, and not just local government, which it has taken that, but some individuals who have stepped up in the community to actually deal with some of these issues.
Such as the development interest group that I'm a member of.
Yep. And you want to tell folks about DIG and when that next meeting is, Chris?
Yeah, well, the next meeting is tomorrow at noon at Whitaker Bank on the 5th floor. Lunch is provided by DIG. And then tomorrow's speakers are Jason Monroe, the city manager of Frankfort, and possibly, if his schedule allows, the planning director for the city, Eric Cockley. So it'll be a wide open thing. If you're a small business owner and you want to learn about things, I've learned so much. I mean, I'm not a developer, I'm a restaurant, but they asked me to join, and I've learned so much from that group, so much insider stuff you hear about because they trust you not to go blab about it, but you get to hear about it before it happens. And these are some very knowledgeable people. They're the movers and shakers of Frankfort, and they want to see the town grow, but they want to see the town grow correctly with smart growth, not just slamming stuff in everywhere there's a piece of open land.
Yeah.
So if you ever want to join this group, it's like $250 a year, and we're pretty sure we're going to drop the membership fee. And it'd be great to see what all's going on in Frankfort before it actually goes on.
Well, and I think a lot of people who haven't been to a dig
I'll join.
For people who haven't been to a dig meeting or any of the local development meetings, there is a lot happening behind the scenes, and there's a lot that has to happen with developers. You cannot expect government. You cannot expect government to develop your city. That's not how it works. Whether you want government to develop your city or to give donations to folks, that's not government's job, right? So their job is to create the infrastructure that gets developers to come in and develop your area.
Yeah,
and that's what we have going on here.
And Penny Peevler of Develop Frankfort in Franklin County is doing yeoman's work on recruiting businesses to come here. I mean, that woman's, she operates at 150 miles an hour from the time she gets out of bed till she gets home. I mean, I've had conversations with her at 11 o'clock at night, and she's still going.
Yeah, she's just driving home, and that's the only time she has to talk to you.
She's amazing in the work they're doing out there. I think David Laudmill is the president of the group, and they're just doing some amazing work, and we're seeing the fruits of their labor now across Franklin County.
We are, and whether you like the development or not, get involved with them so that you can voice your concerns, and maybe you get what you want, maybe you don't, but at least you're involved in the discussions. And it's for too long in Frankfort, we just have had a lot of people that
and to join DIG, you got to be a small business owner.
Yep, small business owner.
So the more growth we get, the more money we make as small business owners. I can attest to that.
Absolutely. All right, well, moving on to something fun to talk about. Now on to college basketball, because this week in Lexington could redefine or define the future of Kentucky basketball under Mark Pope. We're talking about elite talent, big-time visits, and potential program-changing decisions. The Kentucky Wildcats men's basketball team are hosting one of the most important recruiting stretches of the offseason, bringing in three major names, including Robert Wright III, from BYU, Tyron Stokes, who obviously is the number one consensus player in the country out of high school, and Donnie Freeman out of Syracuse. According to multiple reports, all three players are either currently on campus or scheduled to visit within the same critical window. I will tell you that I know for a fact that Stokes is here, that Wright is either landed or about to land in Lexington, and that Freeman will be there tomorrow. Now, the interesting thing about Tyron Stokes, and I can go into this a little bit more, but Tyron Stokes has already made an official visit to the University of Kentucky way back when. So this is his second visit. So this is money out of his own pocket. The University of Kentucky is not paying for him to be here. Obviously, he has the money to do it, but you wouldn't come here on your own dime if you had already made your decision up. The University of Kentucky, I will say, has done a wonderful job, as they always do, of trying to welcome these kids here. This is one of the sorority houses down off campus, and this is one of the homes near campus as well. So let's start with the biggest name, Tyron Stokes, consensus number one overall player in the 2026 class. He's 6'7", 230-pound elite forward. He's obviously a McDonald's All-American. Stokes is widely considered a program-changing recruit.
No doubt.
And this visit could be decisive. He's currently choosing between Kentucky and Kansas. Oregon is still in the mix, and I can tell you the only reason that Oregon is in the mix is because Phil Knight is out there with Nike money, and he has a Nike contract. So that how these shoe deals work into these other guys coming here. Kansas is an Adidas school. Kentucky is a Nike school. Obviously, Oregon is a Nike school. That has to be a difference. 2 weeks ago, we had told you on the show here that it looked like we were losing our mojo with Tyron Stokes, especially once Bill Self said he was coming back. Now things have completely shifted. It seems like Kentucky might be leading that area, but if Kentucky lands him, you're talking about a potential one and done lottery level talent, which a lot of the folks in Kentucky will be happy about. I am sure.
Well, he said in an interview that wherever he's going for 8 months.
Yeah.
And then he's going straight to the NBA.
Yeah.
Now, the late night thing that came up was Michigan might be in the thing now.
Yeah, I mean, and
They
I
might
think
be in the mix because they're national champions. And one of the ESPN guys says, well, they know how to get players to the pros. The coach, what's the coach's name? Do you remember?
from UK,
Michigan.
from Michigan.
Said what his name? They said he knows how to get players to the pros. He's only been there 2 years. He couldn't have got that many there.
Well, he got a ton of coaches at his previous school. It's Dusty May. I don't know why that was
Dusty May. That's right. Yeah.
But he was at Florida Atlantic and took that team to the Final Four. Then he went to Michigan, and now he's won a national championship.
Yeah.
But remember, 2 years ago, Michigan was 8-24.
Correct.
Michigan was not just bad; they were terrible. Juwan Howard was gone, and they brought in all guys from different schools.
All starters were the first transfer championship.
And so
champions.
Yeah, and so
champions.
I think the interesting thing about this is that Dusty May figured it out early, and maybe that's the blueprint that people use. I don't see Tyron Stokes going to Michigan. He's so out of it for so long. They weren't even mentioned, and we're so deep into this. I think he's going to make a decision quick, and I think he probably wants to make that decision quick to get this over with. For those of you who are out there, in Lexington tonight, I will tell you that he's already been spotted on campus. He was seen with the staff at Carson's. Mo Williams reportedly is leading these visits. This is coming from our insider, Todd Curtis.
Mm-hmm.
And he has all of the swag none of the other staff has. That's Mo Williams with his NBA background. The scuttlebutt around the group is that because he's on his own dime, this kind of gave them the hope that this was a big deal. Now, the other thing, the other big part about this is Robert Wright is here as well, and is about to land if he's not already. Robert Wright III is one of the top guards in the transfer portal. He averaged 18.1 points, 4.6 assists, 3.5 rebounds per game at BYU. I mean, can you imagine? He shot 41% from three-point range. We're losing a guard to BYU who shot 40.8%. We may be getting one that shot 41%. Plus, he is
per game point differential is about 12 points a game.
Big difference, and he close to 5 assists a game as well, which is what you need. He is ranked among the top guards, if not the top guard in the portal nationally. Wright brings something Kentucky desperately needs: a proven high-level lead guard who can score and distribute. He's already had a prior stop at Baylor where he averaged 11 points per game as a freshman, and then he moved to BYU. I have information, and we'll say this is somewhat breaking right now. BYU has been informed, and they believe, the coaches at BYU, that Rob Wright is actually already made a decision and is coming to the University of Kentucky, and he will be in Lexington next year.
Awesome.
I will tell you that is from insider information that the BYU has said that. It sounds like Trilly Donovan said that the BYU people expect Wright to be at UK next season as well. It sounds like it is all done but the shouting with Rob Wright, and to get him coming in at the tail end of Tyron Stokes' visit today could be enormous.
And it replaces always scoring.
It replaces always scoring. The other thing that I will tell you is Zoom Diallo has had a couple meetings, and he's coming into town. Zoom Diallo has petitioned NCAA for another year, and if he gets that other year, Zoom Diallo being here is also crucial to the recruiting portion, because Zoom Diallo played on Tyron Stokes' AAU team, and they all played for Mo Williams and know Mo Williams and their family.
And he's about 16 points a game himself, isn't he?
Yeah. So
18 and 16 coming in.
it is a big deal that these guys are coming right now, and that Zoom Diallo is in the mix as well. I believe that you will hear probably in the next couple days, because these guys want to be done with this. I can tell you right now, it's probably not going past this weekend. But now, whether that happens or not, they have all the ability to do that, and I commend them for taking their time, and they should absolutely do it. I'm just telling you that from what I'm hearing, this is a big week for the University of Kentucky, and what I've also been told is the University of Kentucky will not be outbid for any of these
saw
guys
that
as well.
today, too.
So these three guys are big, along with Zoom Diallo. You're talking about some studs coming in here, and if you land 3 out of those 4, you are essentially just looking for character pieces after that. Folks can
Yeah, Stokes on one of the podcasts I watched this morning. Stokes is in the 8 million range. That's crazy.
I do not think it'll go. I don't think it'll go that high.
It won't be all UK money. It'll be UK, Nike, and booster money.
Yeah.
Together.
Yeah.
It's not all UK money.
Yeah, I mean, if he comes to the University of Kentucky, which is a Nike school, Nike will also kick in, a couple $1 million, which actually
they're already public
really,
with $2 million. Yeah.
And now Kansas is, at the point, like, Kansas doesn't have any players. They literally don't have any players right now.
Which is a plus for us.
Big plus. We have some guys that came back. Yeah. I mean, you have Moreno, you have Williams, you have Trent Noah, who've all said they're coming back. So you have some leaders that are coming back. Obviously, we wanted Captain Clutch to come back, and he didn't, but that's okay. And we got to move on from that. Then you've got Donnie Freeman coming in from Syracuse. This guy's a versatile forward out of Syracuse. He's a big body.
Yeah, he's huge.
Yeah, 16.5 points, 7.2 rebounds per game. Shot nearly 47% from the field. He is a former 5-star recruit. He's now a top-tier transfer portal target. He brings size, scoring, and versatility in the front court. He actually led Syracuse in both scoring and rebounding last season, making him one of the most productive players in the portal, and had a game against St. John's, if I remember correctly. So, the key is it's not random. All 3 visits are happening within the same window, and that's strategic. They meant to do that. Kentucky's trying to build chemistry early, shows recruits who they'd be playing with, and potentially land multiple commitments at once. And as one report put it, this is a pivotal moment for the program's roster construction. I will say that good on the folks in Lexington, the students, the other, I understand that the sororities and fraternities have all decorated their houses. And by the way, these kids are winding up classes, so they're getting close to finals and dead week. So good on them for showing how much Kentucky basketball means, and hopefully this will land some, if not all, of these guys.
You're getting 52 points a game from 3 players, 2 16s and an 8, or 50 points a game, 2 16s and an 18.
And you're bringing back Moreno and Williams, who are double-digit guys as well. I mean, you're talking about averaging 75 points a game.
And if Noah gets his feet under him, he could be good for 6 to 10 points a game, depending on his minutes. If he gets his confidence, if he can just release his shot just a little bit faster.
Well, it would definitely help.
Like if he'd get the shot off like Reed Shepherd does at Houston, I mean, it'd be a totally different thing for him, I believe.
A lot of guys would be doing great if they could get their shots off as quick as Reed. But
yeah.
All right, let's bring it back home. Local Diamonds are busy. We've got a solid couple of nights of high school baseball lined up across Frankfort and Franklin County. Tonight's matchups, Eminence hits the road to take on the Frankfort High Panthers at Capitol View Park. That game just had their first pitch. And the Frankfort Christian Academy Royals are traveling to Cornerstone Christian, that road matchup under the lights over at Cornerstone Christian. Tomorrow night, big games, big district games, Craig. Western Hills is on the road to face Great Crossing in a big local matchup. The Frankfort High Panthers travel across town to take on the Franklin County Flyers over at FCHS. So plenty of action over the next 48 hours. Get out and support those kids if you can. If not, see if you can catch the game on the follow-up on Cable 10 or any other of the folks who are showing it live. Anything else you want to add tonight, Craig? Any other news that we haven't heard about?
No, that's it. Just there's going to be a lot of breaking news over the next 2 days.
Yeah.
Sports-wise, national and world.
Absolutely. Well, I want to I want to thank everybody for joining us. If you haven't already, please go ahead and like and subscribe to the channel. It's the one way that we can keep these things free, and so that you get all the news and you get these good discussions with everyone else every single day during the week, Monday through Friday. I am here with my good friend Craig, and so join us every day at 5 o'clock. Where we will bring you all the news that is fit to talk about here in Frankfort and in Kentucky and nationally. I appreciate you guys joining us here for Apex News Above the Noise. We will see you guys tomorrow. Thanks for joining us. Have a great night.